every adventure needs to be epic. This is something I personally forget sometimes. I love dreaming of and doing big multi-day adventures, but the shorter ones are just as valuable. Maybe even more sometimes. Back in April, I wanted to get out on a bikepacking adventure. I have a few bigger trips I would like to do this year, but I felt the first trip of the year should be a short one, in part to dial in some new gear, and in part to help me get back into bikepacking shape. I ended up making a sub 24-hour route in one of my favorite places, Pisgah National Forest. I started near Wash Creek Horse Camp and biked gravel roads to Lake Powhatan campground and back. I don't typically spend a lot of time in the Bent Creek region of Pisgah, so it was nice to explore a new-to-me area. In almost any adventure, big or small, from week-long camping trips to afterwork runs, my favorite part is almost always the wildlife I see along the way, and this trip was no exception. Coming down the gravel road, and this book was just laying on the side. Not sure who lost it, but it belongs to the library, so I'll bring it back to the library. It's not damaged or anything, so it must have happened recently, but I think it might rain overnight tonight, so I don't want to just leave it. I considered leaving it to see if the person might come back for it, but I'm concerned it'll get rained on tonight if they don't come back quick enough. My first wildlife encounter on this trip was a swarm of butterflies. I always enjoy seeing butterflies while out exploring, but seeing a swarm of them is something special. Generally speaking, if there's a group of butterflies swarming, or more specifically, if they're puddling, that is, all grouped together in one spot on the ground, it means that spot has a lot of salt and minerals that they need. Young males are the most likely butterflies to be found puddling, as they have the highest need for salt. They tend to fly more, do courtship displays, and pass sodium to their mates, who then pass it to their eggs, increasing the chances of survival for the offspring. At least scientists think so. As far as I can tell, this theory has not actually been proven yet, and more research needs to be done. So I'm not 100% certain, but see how that one is bigger than the one next to it? I think that one might be an Appalachian Tiger Swallowtail, while the other ones are Eastern Tiger Swallowtails. Both Eastern Tiger Swallowtails and Appalachian Tiger Swallowtails can be found in this area. Eastern Tiger Swallowtails have 2 to 3 broods per year, whereas Appalachian Tiger Swallowtails only have 1. Appalachian Tiger Swallowtails tend to fly between April and June, and they look very similar to Eastern Tiger Swallowtails, so at the time of this trip, I could have been seeing either species. However, Appalachian Tiger Swallowtails tend to be larger than Eastern Tiger Swallowtails, which is how I came to the conclusion that I did. The original plan was to pedal past Lake Powhatan to the Arboretum, but at the lake there was a sign that stated "Not a road, pedestrians only," which I took to mean foot traffic only when it referred to pedestrians. But apparently I'm the only one, because later in the day I did see people on their bikes on that path. The lake was really pretty though. I made my way to the campsite to set up camp and check out some of the less obvious wildlife. Since I didn't end up biking to the Arboretum, I ended up having some extra time, so I decided to do a short hike around Lake Powhatan. And I am so glad I did. Pisgah has its fair share of long hikes with a lot of elevation gain, but if you're looking for something short and relatively flat, I highly recommend this loop. There was just a turtle on that tree. I believe these are flame azaleas, but I'm pretty sure there's also something that looks very similar, also in the rhododendron genus. Okay, so the plant I was thinking of is actually Cumberland rhododendron, which does look fairly similar, but it's not found in this particular area, so that was a flame azalea. Also, the longer I watched these geese, the more I saw. This is a blue corporal, and you can actually see it breathing in this clip. You can tell it's a male because of the blue coloring. Females tend to be more of a brown. The males tend to be found around the edges of ponds and lakes, which is exactly where I found this one. The blue corporal is a dragonfly. Both dragonflies and damselflies belong to the same order, but there are two big differences to look for to tell them apart. Firstly, dragonflies tend to have much thicker bodies than damselflies, and secondly, dragonflies tend to rest with their wings out, and damselflies tend to rest with their wings up. Similar to how moths tend to rest with their wings out, or tent-like over their body, and butterflies tend to rest with their wings up. I've shown eastern newts or red-spotted newts a few times on my channel. I always love finding them, but I almost always find them in their juvenile stage as the red eft. This is probably because they are bright orange and fairly easy to spot. But this time I actually found some adults. While the juveniles are terrestrial and have that bright orange coloring to warn others that they're toxic, adult red-spotted newts are aquatic and are an olive green color with red spots. The adults are only about 1/10 as toxic as the juveniles. Eastern newts, like the majority of salamanders, breathe through their skin, which makes them very sensitive to their environment. This means if you do happen to see a salamander, it's a positive sign of a healthy habitat. So you saw the campsite a little bit when I got here. I figured I'd give you a quick tour now that I'm all set up. There's a pretty nice picnic table, a lantern post. All of the tent sites at this campground have bear boxes, which is really nice. And then you can see I have a one-person tent, so it doesn't take up much room. But there is a pretty decent space if you had a big tent. And these campsites are spaced out pretty well. Can't see the next site that way. And there's the next site on that side. And like I said, there's a decent bit of room between the two. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can check out my merch and membership options on Fourth Wall. And if you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. So here's a bonus fun fact. Appalachian Tiger Swallowtails are actually a hybrid species. They are a hybrid between Eastern Tiger Swallowtails, which they're often confused for in this region, and Canadian Tiger Swallowtails.